to Celestial Bodies, a place to wonder in awe about the planets above. So this week, I'm mainly going to focus on today's new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Libra. So whenever it's a new moon, the sun and the moon are in the same degree of the zodiac. So in this case, they're at 10 degrees of Libra. And you know, usually and a lot of the time, well, what new moons signify is like the start of the up and coming month, like the time to regroup. It's the start of the energy before the moon grows towards the full moon. This one is a little different because it's also a solar eclipse at the same time. It's a solar eclipse on the south node of the moon, and so we have this strange thing of like beginnings, you know, new moon beginnings, the start of something, and then also south node endings and release. And this just happens to also be the final south node solar eclipse in Libra for the next 18 years. So we are coming to the end of a certain story within this sort of Libra part of our lives. So we have this very big endings, beginnings type feel this week, and it feels like quite a more even like inward, receptive, reflective period this week as well. So to begin this reading, I wanted to reflect a little bit on the nature of Libra to sort of situate us in that place. So Libra is like this constellation in the sky made up of fixed stars. And the way I sometimes like to look at the zodiac signs is to think of them as a place. So for example, for let's say Aries, for Aries, I would think of maybe like a red running track, racers on the line, waiting to hear the whistle blow or whatever, waiting to take off, like really ready to go, raring to go. And so in that little image, it's got everything in there for me. It's got speed, anticipation, the colour red, competition, the start of something. All of that are very sort of Aries kind of themes. And so when I think of Libra, I get a different image. I get maybe more like an art gallery. It's a place where beauty's created and weighed and judged and sort of like decided upon. Is this beautiful? Is this, you know, there's kind of like this judgment made, and things are chosen, and things are judged against a sort of certain standard. And then if you can imagine walking through that gallery, there's a sense of decorum and politeness in the air, and you're careful about how you move and how you speak or how you exist in that space, because there are these kind of unspoken societal rules of behaviour that keep everything peaceful and aesthetically pleasing. And so that some of that gives you, and that's one of Libra's gifts, and some of that gives you that Libra energy of creating and maintaining harmony. But at the same time, this new moon eclipse in Libra on the south node is kind of challenging that space a little bit, to ask us, are there things we're being too polite about? Are we people pleasing to the point that we're not living or expressing what we really think? We're just kind of doing what we think is gonna make everybody happy. So this will be the last eclipse in Libra for the next 18 years. So in a sense, it's a good time to be wrestling with these ideas. So you could maybe actually think back to last October when this was taking place, kind of in almost the same space, not exactly the same degree. And then March, where we had a lunar eclipse in Libra. And basically, the story of these Libra eclipses is probably already known to you. But this is almost like a final moment of working with those themes, and and seeing what is ready to release with that South Node energy. The other thing to think about for this eclipse is that the ruler, Venus, is in the sign of Scorpio. So basically, as I said, like, you can think of Libra as a place and Scorpio as a place, and they're very different places. And so the ruler is in this very different place, in a sense, than Libra, where it's a more penetrating place, not afraid to dig into darker truths and things that we'd rather not say out loud. So in a sense, if Scorpio was a place that I'm imagining, I could kind of imagine like a sort of dark underground comedy club where things are said that are maybe more taboo or not said in polite society. And this card I think is quite interesting. So you have Venus, there's the symbol there, in Scorpio with the keyword secrets, and then on the picture you've got all these kind of knots, the way that secrets can kind of tie us up in knots, the way that they can tie things together and peoples together, and then this image of this very strong sort of winged sort of being on top of them, protecting them. And so I do think that playing out in the collective is very much this this revealing of secrets. And then the other thing that brings my attention there really is the fact that this eclipse is also very close to Black Moon Lilith. And so I just think we can see this energy playing out in the collective really strongly at the moment, and it's you know, it's very much coming out. And the ancients actually, they seen solar eclipses as almost more pertaining to the rulers and the heads of society, and lunar eclipses being more about the people. And I really feel that to be the case with this eclipse, that so we're seeing sort of heads of state and powerful leaders and solar figures, they're being kind of eclipsed. So I'm thinking here of, well, just the way we're looking at these solar leaders, and our ideas about them are changing and being eclipsed. What we once thought was sort of high is changing. And then also then in like pop culture, I'm thinking of the P. Diddy stuff that's going on and all of the secret that's that are being revealed, and the sort of takedown of that kind of prominent sort of solar figure. And so I think we're seeing major themes of this kind of repression and abuse of the feminine coming to light. And it's as though the truths that have been buried or ignored are now rising to the surface. It feels very strong during this eclipse. But how this eclipse relates to us more personally can range in extremes and in different areas of our life. So, but it might still be asking each one of us in different types of ways to examine how we might be suppressing our own truths, or how we're holding back our own voice to maintain peace or avoid conflict. And have we been too concerned with pleasing others that we lost sight of our own needs or desires? It's funny, even this morning in the yoga studio that I work in, I overheard the words people pleasing and even I think balance. I was just like, it's in the air. Like, I'm even just overhearing these words just in random conversations. And so it feels like it's in different ways for all of us, perhaps something to reflect upon. And it's sort of where this Aries and Libra axis comes in, that polarity comes into play, because obviously because the South Node's in Libra, the North Node is still in Aries. But on one side, Libra's all about balancing, relating to others, maintaining harmony. But when taking too far, we can sort of lose ourselves in the process. And then on the Aries side, the energy of the individual, raw, direct, unfiltered, more unfiltered energy. And so we're being asked to create this balance between the two. Like, if we're so focused on maintaining harmony, then we may stop just being honest with ourselves. But if we're so focused on our own needs, then we may lose our ability to relate. It's this constant toing and froing, and working it into some way. Is there a middle way? I don't know, but I feel we're all going to be kind of being asked to recalibrate the scales, where we can kind of express our truth without fear of disrupting the peace, and at the same time honour relationships we have with one another. So as we move through this eclipse energy, you could ask yourself the questions: where am I being too polite? What truths am I holding back for sake of harmony? And how can I find the courage to embrace my voice while still nurturing the relationships that matter? It's definitely a balance. And another way to frame these shifts we're all feeling, both in the collective and perhaps in your own personal lives too, is to recognise that while these taboo and uncomfortable truths are showing up all around us, and they're just everywhere, it's easy for me and maybe you to feel completely at a loss about what to say or do to make any kind of a difference. And then I also recognise that this too is a shadow of Libra, the indecision and the sense of not being sure what the right move is, what to say or how to act. All of that feels like it's up for reflection in this moment. So to leave you today, I wanted to actually read you the Sabian Symbol for this eclipse, which is from Elias Lonsdale's book Inside Degrees, because I thought it was hopeful, because it is still the start of a new month in a sense, albeit like with so many what feels like pain and quite a lot of like sorrow and perhaps and sadness within ourselves. It's a seed moment, and we will still be growing through this month, and so I wanted to leave us with this thought from words that were like channeled many years ago. And what I find with looking at these words is that it might not be that the whole thing resonates, but there might be a couple of lines that just speak to you and give a little clarity for the moment. And so this is Libra, 11 degrees. It's 10 degrees Libra, but you always read a degree up. Tea leaves that form a pentagram. Destiny openings. Carte blanche to enter upon fresh directions. A child of destiny. Offered by spirit protection and guidance, encouragement and empowerment. You are the exception to the rule. The special exemption for future purposes extracted from the old regular patterns and given the chance to follow the inward instincts and sensibility completely. A distinctive quality of being marked out for destiny acceleration beyond what is reasonably or set up. The start of something big. Granted permission to make mistakes, make a fool of yourself, and still come up as the one everybody knows can and will do astounding things. Just because down the road somebody is calling you onwards who cannot be refused. So, taking a little sip of the tea leaf tea. I actually just got this cup and I don't know how it is you read the tea leaves, but I love the cup. But I hope that this maybe brings a little, I don't know, just something to muse upon, of things that are maybe swirling around for you, and that symbol, the main thing I took from it, there was that sort of granted permission to make mistakes and make a fool of yourself and not be right, in that kind of searching for what is maybe your new sense of thinking your own thoughts or following the path. I don't even know what I'm talking about now. But I hope